Maybe they do know the identity of Jack the Ripper, and they just,
you know what? They might
hid it.
They might.
Maybe it was like a member of the royal family.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The Queen. No.
The Queen. She's not even that old, although we don't know for sure.
We don't know
sure. She could be that old.
You never know. Sorry to the Queen if you're listening.
Sorry to the Queen if you're listening. Oh my god. Imagine the Queen just at tea time, just like listening to our podcast.
Actually.
Hello there.
Hello.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Welcome to
the Ackshully
podcast. Woo! Yeah.
Ackshully.
Woo! Actually. Let's go.
Ackshully.
Woo!
Ackshully.
Yeah. It's fine. Actually. Yeah. Woo!
I am not ready for this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, actually.
With your hosts,
The wonderful Cobble.
and the amazing Katy.
Oh, yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Hello there. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing, dear
How's it
listeners of
going?
us? How's it going? Yeah. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. I always feel a bit awkward starting these.
Yeah, like anything, like the podcast, streams, videos. I'm like, hello.
Hello. I've crawled out of my cave and yo, what's up?
Yo, literally, because we're recording this early in the morning, so we literally have crawled out of a cave.
Yes. We're recording this on a beautiful Saturday morning.
Saturday.
And
I
yeah.
have tired eyes.
Me too.
Very tired eyes.
So if you watch the YouTube version of this podcast, we apologize for our appearances.
This is what happens when you stay up till 2 a.m. watching TikToks.
I also
did.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't stay up till that late, but I was just so tired from the day, the day that I had, that I just I just slept. I slept, and then I woke up after I don't know. I think I slept for 10 hours, and
nice.
And you'd be like, oh yeah, that's super good, but I think that's too much.
Yeah.
I think
We've
it's too much.
We've talked about this before, where less sleep is better, because when I sleep, if I sleep over 8 hours, I feel horrific.
You just want to take a nap immediately the moment you wake up. You just want to take another nap. And if I there's been nights where I've stayed up till, I don't know, 3-4 a.m. watching Doctor Who with a certain someone.
Oh, who's that? Just having existential crises at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Normal things.
And then I go to bed and I sleep for 4 or 5 hours, and then I wake up and I feel refreshed, like a new human.
Although there was one time we did this, and I had the bright idea of trying to fix my sleeping schedule by staying up
all night
and all the next day.
That was not your brightest moment.
That was not a good idea.
It was not a good idea.
I think I talked to you that afternoon, and I sounded drunk. I felt drunk as well. It was not. Don't stay up all night. Anybody who's listening, don't pull an all-nighter. It's not healthy. Get some sleep at least. Yeah. Never doing that again. It doesn't fix your sleeping schedule, just in case you're wondering.
It does not. It just wrecks it even more. Yes, but today's episode What is this? What is today's episode going to be about?
Today's episode is all about unsolved mysteries.
Yes, and we're gonna solve. Well, we'll probably not solve them, but we're gonna attempt to solve them. Yeah.
We'll theorize.
Yeah, we'll theorize
with our big brains.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yes, so that's what we're gonna do. Unsolved mysteries, but we should warn y'all probably.
Yes, the topics that we're gonna talk about. We're just gonna put a little content warning out there, because some of these are like true crime cases. Some of them have like, gruesome, not gruesome details. Hopefully, we will we'll not go into huge detail on gruesomeness.
Yeah, but we'll still have to talk about some of it. So if you are not comfortable with like topics of murder and serial killer stuff and stuff like that, gruesome acts of violence and stuff, you have been warned.
And take care of yourself. Stay comfy.
Yes. Indeed. So that's what we're gonna talk about today.
Yes.
And last week we talked about, what did we talk about last week?
We talked about
movies. Yeah, we talked about bad movies that we think were good, and then we also listened to transmissions from an alternate dimension where we talked about bad movies that they thought were good, but we're like, what?
Shout out to Taki and Bockel for their wrong opinions.
In their podcast, Ackshully. We should do like a spin-off podcast.
I don't know if I want to hear Taki's opinions if Nicolas Cage is her favorite actor. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. So we did that last week. And every week we have a word search like game component to our podcast. Every week there will be letters scattered throughout the podcast, and if you collect those letters and piece them together, you could come up with a word in relation to the subject of that episode. And last episode, the word search was
animatronic. Haunting because that's in reference to one of the movies
that we watched, Willy's Wonderland.
Shout out to Willy's Wonderland.
Shout out to Willy's Wonderland.
I will never get the image of the freaking animatronic ostrich out of my head. I just won't. It's there forever.
You're welcome. You know what? You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The kindest gift a friend could give.
Yes. So in this podcast, there will also be letters scattered around, and if you collect them all, you can find the word, and you can let us know via Twitter, Instagram, YouTube comments. Feel free to do that. Feel free to do that. And like if you want to follow us over there and go into conversation like with us, because we'll also post like some pictures and whatnot over there, and like stories and like polls and all that good stuff.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. That's freaking. That would be free. That would be really cute.
That would be really cute, really cool, very ooh. Yeah.
And another.
And also is I was sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So every week we also highlight either a game, a movie, or a TV show. Yeah. And I do believe, Cobble, that you have a game that you'd like to talk about this week.
Do I?
I
do.
I do believe so.
I do. The game that we're going to talk about today for the podcast game of the week is Beyond Good and Evil. Ooh. Have you heard of Beyond Good and Evil, Katie?
I've heard of it. I've never seen anything of it. Right. Like I've never seen any gameplay or anything. Right. I don't know what it is, but I've heard of it.
Yes. So many people that like follow me personally will know that Beyond Good and Evil is one of my all-time favorite games. Like it's in my top 5 all-time favorite games, and I might even say that it is actually my favorite game of all time.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like it's like Breath of the Wild comes close, but I think like the nostalgia that I have like with Beyond Good and Evil as well might influence that a little bit. But it's a game that was made by Ubisoft.
Okay.
And it came out in 2003, I believe, on PlayStation 2, PC, Xbox, and GameCube, I think.
Oh, the GameCube.
The GameCube, yes.
So good.
So like it's been a while. It's been a while. It's really like depressing to think about that in 2023 it'll be 20 years old.
Oh,
that's just like 2000. Like when I think about 2003, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like 5 years ago. But no,
this is just a couple years ago.
It's almost 2 decades ago. Like we're getting older, and it hurts sometimes.
Old. Yeah.
We are old. So it's a bit of an older game. But I believe that, like, I don't think a lot of people have played it. Like, there's a core fan base around it, and it has also, like, it has gotten like a cult following, and like I couldn't be happier with that because this game is absolutely marvelous. It's an action adventure video game, and like you play like in a third person view with your protagonist Jade. And Jade is a freaking badass lady.
Nice.
She can run. She can do stealth. She can like freaking hit people with her stick.
Nice.
Like it's free. She's badass.
Right.
But it basically takes place. Beyond Good and Evil takes place in the year 2435.
Ooh. Okay.
On a mining planet called Hillis.
Right.
And it's located in like a remote section of the galaxy, and it's really cool because like the architecture on the planet, like it has like a lot of like European influences in its style.
Ooh.
It's really freaking cool. And it's a sci-fi fantasy like setting basically because you got humans coexisting with anthropomorphic animals. So there's this like Jade has like this caretaker that is like a pig. Like a pig.
Cute.
Well, I mean, he's not super cute or anything, anything, but like,
okay.
I mean, he's awesome.
I was like imagining like a little, just like a cute,
just
a
a tiny little pig. Yeah. No, so the pig's name is Paige. Paige. Yes.
Okay.
And he is like, he's like her caretaker, and he's like, well, is he a pig or more of a boar? I think it's more of a boar.
Right. I see.
But like, it's like those animals have human characteristics attributed to them. Like they all walk on their 2 hind legs. They just speak like regular old people. You have like lizards in there, like panda people and freaking
panda people.
Like there's a bunch of species, and it looks really cool. So what this game has for it already is like great gameplay because like the levels is like 3D platforming mixed with some action, and like puzzles.
Nice.
And the world itself with like all these different creatures is really, really interesting. But what happens in the game is that the planet Hillis becomes like under siege by aliens called the Doms. And the Doms abduct beings and drain their life force for power, and
that's quite rude.
Or they implant them with spores to convert them into slaves. which is
Yikers.
It's actually not great.
It's actually quite scary.
Hillis itself is under control by the Alpha sections, like a dictatorship military thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And like you as Jade will like join the underground resistance movement, the Iris network, who fights the Alpha sections. And they believe that the Alpha sections are actually in league with the Doms. And like it's really like it's a
sounds
really
like a really good story.
It's a
like,
really good story. It's a really good game. It's just like if you play it, just like take in mind it's been made in 2003. It's a bit aged, so like not all of the gameplay is as smooth as it could be now. And I really hope that Ubisoft one day is like, yo, we're gonna remaster this.
Ooh,
or we're gonna remake this like Spyro or Crash Bandicoot or something, but with Beyond Good and Evil. That would be epic. And this game, I played it for the first time like 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
So I was pretty late to the party, but like one of my friends said, like, you have to play this. One of my friends, Sir Mammothie, shout out to you. He said, like, you're gonna love this. And I played it and I absolutely adored it.
Nice.
Like it was exactly my cup of tea, you know, like science fiction, a bit of fantasy in there, and then like a good, nice story with aliens. Like that's my jam. That's my
your
jam.
Perfect jam right there.
Yeah. The only thing it's missing is time travel. I think.
Maybe.
But like it's a really good game, and if you haven't played it, I really, really recommend it. It's really good. There's a sequel coming out, hopefully someday. Because Ubisoft announced Beyond Good and Evil 2 in I think it was 2017 or something, or 2016.
Right. Okay.
It's still not out. It's still not out. And it's been remarkably quiet surrounding it. Although a few days ago, the Belgian Ubisoft account tweeted something out, Beyond Good and Evil 2 related, with the city of Ghent. Like a spaceship from Beyond Good and Evil 2 was flying through the skies above Ghent. And that was pretty cool to see. And I was like, so is it still alive? Are they still working on it? And it's a sequel, but it's also like it's not really a sequel. It's actually a prequel.
Okay, cool.
There's a few trailers out of it, like out already. It looks freaking insane. Like the cinematics look insane.
Nice.
And we see like Jade in that trailer, but and Paige as well. But Jade seemingly is evil in that trailer, which is very, very like, because in the first game, Paige has been very like secretive about where Jade comes from and like who she is and all that, and I think it has to do something with that probably, but we don't know because the game isn't out yet.
It's not out yet, actually. Well,
and I hope it comes out at some point.
Maybe the panoramic like delayed it. Maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think that'll have done it any favors, but I think also. Michel Ancel was working on it. That's the guy from Rayman and stuff. And he was recently, in the past year, he's been accused of like sexual harassment and all that stuff within Ubisoft. And so he was fired, obviously, as he should have been, because it's not okay. You just don't do that. So my respect for that man is also down the drain. But that man did create like a bunch of franchises that I love. One of which is Beyond Good and Evil, which sucks. But I just hope that Ubisoft didn't just like, okay, well, this guy's gone. Well, that project is dead. I hope they didn't do that.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Because there's a bunch of other talented people working at Ubisoft that could take this project on and they should. And I hope that we get to see. Yeah, I'm manifesting this like really really hard. That Beyond Good and Evil 2 is finally gonna you know. You know.
Yes. And if anyone has also played this game and is a huge fan of it, let us know. Like, I'm sure Cobble would love to just talk to you about it. Yeah. I'm curious. Like, I'd always heard of it, but I'd never actually seen like any gameplay or anything. The title suggests to me, I thought it was like a zombie game. So
no, it's not. It's not as well. I mean, the people controlled by the DOMs, you could see them as zombies, I guess. But not in the undead kind of way.
Right. Yeah. Makes
so
sense.
Beyond Good and Evil, play it if you haven't played it. I love it. It's a great game. Great story. Great characters. I love it. Oh, and the music. Oh, the music is a bop.
Good soundtrack.
I love it. It's like what you think music in a world where animals and humans live alongside each other and like communicate with each other and talk to each other. Like, it's what you imagine that music that would come forth out of that would sound like. It's really hard to explain, but it's really, really like, it's good jams.
Right. I don't know what that music would be, but I guess when you listen to it, it's one of those things. It's like, this makes sense. This makes sense.
It just makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Cool.
So yeah.
Nice. Well, there you go. Game of the week. Heck
yes. So.
Mysteries.
They're very mysterious.
Mysteries are hella mysterious. Yes, that's correct. We have like a couple of kind of bigger cases that we're gonna cover each. However, we thought we'd ease ourselves into this topic by talking about some like more famous
and then our own like more niche mysteries that maybe not everyone knows about.
Yeah. So you want to talk about one that scares me a lot.
Yes, but maybe we should start with like your one first.
Right, okay.
To ease into it a little bit.
We'll ease into it. Okay.
Well, so, I mean, it's also a bit you know.
Yeah, it's
a bit
well
unsettling, I guess.
It is unsettling. And like, I don't know why I chose this because I actually have a fear of flying. So that's good. The more famous case that I was gonna talk about just briefly, we'll get into more detail of like the bigger, more niche cases, but Malaysian Airlines flight MH370.
Right.
The disappearance of this flight.
When did that happen again?
It happened on March 8th, 2014.
Yeah, so I remember this.
Yeah, me too.
I remember this. It was all over the news. The only thing that I remember is that like it disappeared from the radar.
Yes.
And like
it's very bizarre. Like it's so bizarre, so scary. Yeah, like I do myself no favors. Like I am a very nervous flyer. Like I have flown so much in my lifetime, but every time, like you'd think if you're a nervous flyer, the more you fly, the better you get at it.
That's what happened with me. Like I was terrified, but now I'm like, I don't like it, but I also don't hate it.
I get worse every time, like every single time. I don't know. Like even when I was really, really young, I was scared of it because like your ears like get really sore. So I would always cry on a flight. But then I think what started the fear was watching Lost.
Oh my God.
Lost is like, you know, I mentioned it in the last episode, but Lost is like yeah, it's like my favorite TV show.
I feel like you mentioned Lost in like every episode.
I think I have actually. Listen, Lost is a great show. But yeah, I think that's what started the fear. And then yeah, I don't know. Like every time I fly, it just gets worse.
Yeah, and then you have to talk about instant like happen like. I can't talk.
Yeah. I've chosen a freaking case of flight disappearing, and it hasn't been found.
And that probably doesn't help.
No. But anyways, I'll talk about it.
Yeah. Tell me. Lay it on me.
So, Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 took off from Malaysia to going to Beijing on March 8th, 2014.
Right.
And for anyone who I don't know, wants to know what type of plane it is, I don't know. It was a Boeing 777, which I think is like a huge plane.
Yeah.
It had 227 passengers on board and 12 crew members on board. And so it took off at 12:41 a.m. local time and reached a cruising altitude of 35,000 feet at just about 1 a.m. Right. For you that does not, I know you don't measure by feet.
I don't speak feet.
Yeah. I don't speak feet. It was about just under 11,000 meters. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, 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 very.
Yeah.
So.
But there's nothing unusual about that height, right?
No. Like 35,000 feet is like around like 30,000 to 35,000 is like the normal like cruising altitude for flights.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the aircraft communication addressing and reporting system, which transmits like data about the aircraft's performance, sent its last transmission at 1:07 a.m. Now, they reached cruising altitude at 1:01 a.m. The last transmission was sent at 1:07 from the communication place.
Right.
And the last voice communication from the crew occurred at 1:19 a.m.
Right.
And at 1:21 a.m., the plane's transponder, which communicated with air traffic control, was switched off just as the plane was about to enter Vietnamese airspace. So at 1:30 a.m., the Malaysian military began like tracking the plane as it turned around. It like reached a certain point and just turned around.
Okay.
And they lost contact with the plane at 2:22 a.m. So the Indian Ocean received hourly signals from the flight over the course of the next few hours, but the last moment that the plane was detected was 8:11 a.m. and since then nothing. So there was these like communications, but it just stopped. And it has been a mystery as to what happened to that flight ever since, which is really nice. And there's lots of theories as to what happened to this flight. Yeah,
because they never found like wreckage or anything, right?
No. It's like it was, so allegedly like somewhere, I think it was like the China Sea is where they searched for this plane. And yeah, they have never, to my knowledge, have never found anything. So there's like a lot of different theories. Of course, there's like alien theories and stuff like that. The conspiracy of the Bermuda Triangle comes into it.
Wait, is that over there?
Yeah. So there's like
what?
The Bermuda Triangle is like Well, it says it's a second Bermuda Triangle somewhere.
Oh, a second one, right? Because like I was already thinking like the Bermuda Triangle is like Florida, Puerto Rico, and then Bermuda, and then that's the triangle.
Yeah,
and I was like, China Sea. What?
Apparently the second one. So yeah, that's like obviously a huge conspiracy.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
But one of the most interesting theories to me, like, because it's so bizarre, but also like you wouldn't put it past humans, I guess. There's a theory that the pilot wanted to create the world's greatest mystery.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh. So what? He just kidnapped all those people?
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's no real like backbone to this theory or evidence or anything. And how would like one person be able to do this without like any wreckage being found? But there's like this thing from this article that I found, and it says, speaking ahead of the third anniversary of the plane's disappearance, the pilot said, "I have always said the most plausible scenario was..." Oh no, sorry, this was not the pilot.
I was thinking like, what?
This was former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, right? He kind of started this theory, and he said, "I've always said the most plausible scenario was murder-suicide. And if this guy wanted to create the world's greatest mystery, why wouldn't he have piloted the thing to the very end and gone further south?" So he kind of started this like thought process of this, but like there's no evidence to say that this is what happened.
And also, aren't there like two pilots in the cabin? Like then it would have to been like a two person job.
Or like he was so intimidating that they all just did what he said. I don't know. I don't know about surrounding that. It is just theories, speculation. Of course, like I said, there's alien abduction theories there, because
of course there are.
You can't have a theory without some alien abduction, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like so scary. And I like the thing about unsolved mysteries, like this whole freaking topic of this episode is like, they fascinate me so much, but I want to know, like, I want to know in my lifetime what happened to this flight. Like, what happened? I just want to know.
You know, this makes me think of like, there's this show that you should not watch, Katie.
Great, okay.
But there's a show called Manifest. And Manifest is about like a plane. And like there's this family, like it focuses on this one family that like they come back from their like, I don't know, a little trip to I don't remember what it was or where they went. But there was like space free in another plane for cheaper or something. And so like the family split up. And the dad and the little boy and like the dad's sister, they were on the same plane.
Right.
And that plane like takes off. Right. And like when they land, like all these FBI stuff is around them, and like it's all like quarantined and whatnot, and they just exit the plane like, yo, we just took off a few hours ago and now we landed, what's the big deal? And then they hear that they've been gone for like years.
Oh my God. I've seen the trailer for this and I've wanted to watch it, but yeah. I don't know.
So like what happened in like, you know, in the world, like that plane just vanished from the radar. It just vanished all of a sudden. And that makes me think of this a little bit, because like that flight also just vanished. And then it just popped up back on the radar like years later, as if nothing happened. And like, imagine so like in that show, there's also like conspiracy theorists and all that. And they think that all these people are like ghosts like shells of their former selves created by aliens and stuff, you know, like
wow.
how actual people would respond to this basically happened in the show as well.
Yeah.
Sadly the show is canceled though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like I've seen 2 seasons with Cleo and we were going to watch the 3rd season. Apparently the 3rd season ends on a cliffhanger and they canceled it.
No, that sucks.
And there is no other network that wants to pick it up so far, so it's probably dead. And like,
damn.
But the thing with the show is that they try to every season you just get more questions.
Oh no.
It's just more questions, and the answers that you get are like pretty much non-existent, and they just build questions and questions and questions until your expectations are so high. And I think if they would have been able to end the show, like the answer to all those questions would have been something super freaking stupid, and it would have ruined the rest of the show either way. So I think maybe it's good that it got canceled. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen season 3 yet. I'm not sure if I want to now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me think of that. Imagine if like in a few years, like that aircraft just
turns up
again, and all of those all those people that were on it didn't age like a day because for them it was just a regular flight. Imagine
that would be wild, and I would be terrified.
Yeah,
genuinely terrified.
In the show Manifest, they let those people back to their normal lives. That would not happen in real life. They would be like dissected and whatnot. Like that would not
dissected.
Yeah. Maybe the plane did come back and we just don't know about it because the government's covered it up.
Maybe. You have a point. You have
because there would be no way that we would like that they would tell us.
True.
Yeah.
Especially if it was aliens. Because
did I just become a conspiracy theorist?
I think so. I think you did.
No, but it's like
all along.
it's super scary. It's a super scary thought, and I cannot imagine what those families went through and still are going through because there's no certainty whatsoever. I read a story about like a woman that and her husband was on that plane, and like in the weeks after, she would just like call his cell phone.
Oh man.
And the cell phone would just ring.
What?
Like it would ring, but no one would pick up until it goes to voicemail.
What the fuck?
For weeks. Like until like the phone company closed the account. It would just it would keep ringing. But then I'm like, can't you track that?
Right? Like
you would think you would be able to track that, right?
Yeah, like
I don't know how that works.
Like over 200 passengers with cell phones and everything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's super weird. It's super weird.
Scary. And
also, what I'm thinking about right now, we should do an episode like just dedicated to the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. We should. It's really it fascinates me.
Yeah. We should do it.
Can't stop.
Right. So yeah, freaking flight MH
370.
Yeah. Freaking insane. It's a really scary thing. It's a really scary thought. Like, what if you're on a plane and it just like vanishes?
Can you not?
Like,
Can you not? I just like every time I get on a flight, there's thoughts that are just always. I am like,
what if I crash?
This could crash. What if I go missing? Yeah. Yeah. Per Adam, like every time we're on a flight, like I cut the circulation off his arm because I'm like terrified.
Can we get some Fs? Can we get some Fs for Adam?
Wow. Great.
I also like squeeze Cleo's arm. Like it's like I'm strangling it.
Yeah.
when we take off and when we land, like that's when I just her arm is not happy with those moments. But that's what gets me through it.
Adam falls asleep on every single flight. Like even if we just go to London,
I can sleep. What? That's like not a long flight.
No, that's like 40 minutes. He falls asleep. I'm like, excuse me.
What? How do you fall asleep in like?
I don't know. It's actual.
Wow, that actually
magic.
blows my mind because like I flew from Brussels to Dubai, which was like 9 hours.
Yeah.
So like I slept on that flight for a few hours. And then from Dubai to Beijing, which was like another 9 hours or something.
I don't think I've ever slept on a flight.
And
I have been drunk on a flight because
drunk on a flight
because sometimes I felt like I needed to, but I've never slept on a flight. Wish I could.
Oh my god! Right.
Yeah. So if I visit Belgium, or when I visit Belgium, be honored that I got on that flight. Okay, be honored.
Right. Right. Okay. That's good. There's another mystery that has like people have been researching this like crazy. A lot of detectives have taken on the challenge over the past 200 years. 100 and something, not 200, but still. Like it's a really long time that has went by.
Long time.
A lot of people and scientists and whatnot have studied this case. No one knows who Jack the Ripper was.
Eek. Scary man.
Freaking no one knows it.
Yeah.
For the people that are not familiar with Jack the Ripper, I would be surprised because they actually teach this in schools like everywhere.
Do they?
Here at school, like they taught us about Jack the Ripper, in history class.
I don't think did I? I've suppressed a lot of school memories, so I could be wrong, but I don't think.
Let us know if you learned about Jack the Ripper at school. We would be interested in that. But I had multiple classes across the years in high school, especially because the subject is not something you want to teach, elementary school children.
No, probably not.
Oh yeah, children, there was this killer. Let's not.
No.
But like I had I think in 3 of the 6 years of high school that we have here,
right.
I learned about Jack the Ripper at least once.
Wow.
Once in English class, once in history class, and once in Dutch class, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Jack the Ripper was a serial killer that terrorized London in 1888.
Nice.
That's a while ago.
Great. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, killing at least 5 women and mutilating their bodies in an unusual manner, which also gave the people an idea that this Jack the Ripper might have to have been a person with an extensive knowledge of human anatomy and how the human body works, because the wounds that these victims had were so specific that it's almost like a surgeon
shit.
That did these moides.
That is horrifying. Okay.
Yeah. So he's one of the world's most infamous criminals out there because the case has never been solved. And I think if something like this happened today, we have all these tools with fingerprints and DNA stuff and all that. I think he would be able to be caught, but because it was 1888,
they just didn't
get
have
away with it.
The resources at that time.
So all of the 5 murders that have been attributed to Jack the Ripper were they took place within a mile of each other, the same vicinity, really. And that was the Whitechapel district, in and around the Whitechapel district of London's East End. And the killings took place from August 7th to September 10th, 1888. Wow. So that's only 2 months.
Yeah, that is not
a lot
of time.
No, that's 1 month. That's that's like in 1 month.
Of a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
There were also several other murders around that time that were first attributed to Jack the Ripper, but apparently that was then like another person or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, or like there's still a bit like of unclarity on that as well.
Right.
But yeah, apparently Jack the Ripper also sent letters to the police, Scotland Yard, nice. Taunting the officers.
My God.
Like explaining things about his murders and stuff. Like he was really just like shoving it in their faces like, ha! You can't catch me. I'm too smart.
That is so haunting.
That's super haunting. Like that's absolutely freaking haunting. But there's like a lot of theories about Jack the Ripper's identity. And like there's a bunch of people that claim that a Victorian painter with the name Walter Sickert would have been the Jack the Ripper. There have been like doctors working in that area that have been accused of being Jack the Ripper, but there's like more than 100 suspects.
More than 100?
More than 100 suspects in like the past 100 years that have surfaced that people think would have been Jack the Ripper, which is insane.
Shit. I didn't realize there was that many suspects. Jesus.
Yep.
They really have no idea.
Yeah, there's literally zero clue as to like what happened or who it was.
Wild.
But yeah, so the Whitechapel, like he was known also as the Whitechapel Butcher. There were a lot of killings in Whitechapel. It was like an area where like a lot of immigrants were, but there were also like a lot of businesses and like, you know, reputable businesses. But there was also a lot of violence and crime in that neighborhood. And almost all of the victims of Jack the Ripper, if I'm not mistaken, were also prostitutes. Which, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
He really targeted, like, specific people for this. Which is kind of scary, actually.
Scary, gross.
But yeah, so Jackie Boy... Jackie Boy didn't just, like, slice people's throats or whatever. No, he really like mutilated the bodies, often believed while the people were still alive as well, and not like post-mortem, which is
that's so like it's just so haunting. And like I know a little bit, like I said, I know a little bit about this, but I don't know it in huge detail. But I do remember like reading that the like wounds or whatever were very specific and like almost like surgical.
Yeah.
And yeah, the theory of it being a doctor, like that is just so, like that gives me chills. Like that actually just gives me chills.
Yeah. Like he often removed organs from his kills. Like kidneys and uteruses, even like it's freaking
Jesus
like
Christ.
What the freaking crap. But
My
yeah,
God.
that guy or gal, I don't know. We don't know. Like we legit don't know.
Really could be anyone.
Has like a big legacy now because no one knows what happened, and the murders also just suddenly stopped in the fall of 1888. Like it's just like 5 moides, and then he was like, "Okay, I'm done. I think I'm satisfied." That's so weird. There's theories about Jack the Ripper. Like the reason that the murder stopped is because he died.
Yeah.
Like shortly after, which like I guess that could make sense. So there's like they investigated this as well. like people that died around that time, and there's a few suspects in there as well, and like,
right.
I just like no one knows what actually happened.
Him like dying, could make sense. But the thought of like doing this, targeting women, specifically sex workers, and then the thought of him like possibly not dying and just deciding that was enough. That is, that's so scary. That's so scary.
It is. It really is.
Like how, like if he didn't die, like how did he just go back to normal life? Like, was he, if it was a doctor, like, was he a doctor? Like, just helping people? Like, oh my God.
These are things I need to, like in one of the previous episodes, you asked me where I would travel to. I think maybe it would be 1888 so I could figure out who the frig Jack the Ripper is.
Detective Cobble is on the case beach.
Time-traveling Detective Cobble is on the case beach.
Bring Boleyn with you. Make him wear like a little detective cap. He can be your psychic.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. He can be my he can be the Watson to my Sherlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. More recently, recently. That's all. Like 2011 is not recently. It's 10 years. It's 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
It's 10 years ago.
Oh, that is depressing.
Like
it's depressing.
a British detective, Trevor Marriott, had been investigating the Jack the Ripper murders, and he made headlines because he was denied access to uncensored documents surrounding those cases by the Metropolitan Police.
Why?
Like he was denied the information to look into it.
What? Why?
And I don't know why.
What the heck?
Yeah, the London right there. Yeah, the London officers had refused to give Marriott the files because they include protected information about police informants. That's there. But police informants in 1888. Yeah, those people are dead already.
What the heck? That's very sus. And does protected like informants just last forever? Like
I don't know. Like there's these the reason was that there was a possibility of like future testimony by modern day informants like in those files, which doesn't really make sense to me. Like maybe I'm just a bit dumb or something. I don't know. But I don't get that entirely.
No.
I don't really understand why they would deny that information.
Yeah. How sus? That is sus.
That's super sus. Mm-hmm. It is. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if
it's something that is known, but for some reason they don't want it to.
Maybe they do know the identity of the Jack the Ripper, and they just.
You know what? They might
hit it.
They might.
Maybe it was like a member of the royal family.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The Queen. No.
The Queen. She's not even that old, although we don't know for sure.
We don't know
She could be that old.
You never know. Sorry to the Queen if you're listening.
Sorry to the Queen if you're listening. Oh my God. Imagine the Queen just at tea time, just like listening to our podcast.
Just listening to our shit.
You know what?
Like, I'd love to see it. I'm a huge fan of
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
God.
She's more than welcome to donate a few pounds.
Just a few. Yeah, just a couple. Yeah, that would be nice.
Just a cheeky couple million, you know.
The Queen sponsors this podcast. Yeah.
This episode of Ackshully is sponsored by the Queen of Britain. Right. Yeah, great.
Anyways. So yeah, Jack the Ripper, absolutely haunting. Hate it, actually. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
huge no.
We have some other cases that we are lesser known, and we're going to go into a little bit of detail about them.
Yes.
Mine are bizarre, especially one of them, which I think I'm gonna leave till the end. But if you want, I can start with the man in room 1046.
Yes, go ahead.
Right.
I'm ready.
So this is
probably not, but
this is kind of wild, but let's go on a journey. So
okay.
On January 2nd, 1935, at 1:20 in the afternoon, a lone man checked into the President Hotel in downtown Kansas City. Now, he had no luggage besides, very specifically, a comb and a toothbrush. And he asked for a room on the high floor of the hotel.
Right.
He checked in under the name of Roland T. Owen. And he just, small talk, complained to the bellboy about the outrageous prices of the neighboring hotel. He was happy to find this one, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah. So, after checking in and receiving his room 1046 or 1046 or whatever way you say hotel room numbers, on the 10th floor, he left the hotel only to be seen intermittently throughout his stay by the staff. So they thought it was kind of odd, like that they didn't, that like he kept leaving and they saw him intermittent. I don't know why they thought this was odd in the beginning. Maybe because he like arrived with like nothing, and he was, I don't know, seen as being kind of shady, like where is he going? But then I don't know, if you're staying in a hotel, you're not gonna be there all the time. I don't know. So they thought he was kind of odd, but they also didn't think that much of him. And like this hotel played host to like out of towners and businessmen anyway, a lot of them looking for some late night company, when they're out of town on business, so the staff were like, we're not getting involved in that. These like married men coming to our hotel to be a little bit sus. A
little bit sus.
So the staff didn't like really think about his like weird behavior until 6 days later, when the man turned up dead in his hotel room in a brutal bloodbath.
Right.
So they as they described the brutal scene that they found to the police, questions arose about the man's behavior prior to his death. And as they talked about it, it brought to light just how strange his behavior had been. So they had to like backtrack and like think about what he was doing while he was staying in this hotel. Yeah. So on January 3rd, the day after he checked in, the hotel maid, whose name was Mary Soptic, I think I'm saying that right. Hopefully I'm saying that right. She stopped by to clean his room. It was around noon and most of the hotel's residents were out for the day. So that's when, the maids would come in, clean the rooms. However, upon reaching his room, she found that the door had been locked from the inside, which is strange. So she knocked and he opened the door. After insisting that she could come back later, she's like, maybe he's busy. I don't know. Like his room was locked from the inside in the middle of the day. She eventually entered. He let her in, and but the room was in like complete darkness. The shades were like tightly drawn. The only light was coming from like this little lamp. It was like very, very dark. Anyways, as she was cleaning, he mentioned he had a friend coming to visit him, and would she mind not locking the door when she left? So she agreed, and he left the room. So he left her to finish cleaning and asked her not to lock the door.
Right.
4 hours later, the same maid returned to room 1046 and with fresh towels.
Yeah.
And she found the door still unlocked from when she'd cleaned the room like that afternoon.
Yeah.
And upon entering, she found Owen laying fully clothed on top of his still made bed, seemingly asleep. And a note on his bedside table said, "Dawn, I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait." Okay. So very, very weird.
What the frick?
The next morning on January 4th, the maid's strange interactions with this room continued. So around 10:30 a.m., she stopped by to make the beds and found Owen's door to be locked from the outside, as it would be when like the guests leave. So assuming he wasn't inside, she opened the door with her master key. But to her surprise, he was there sitting in the dark, in the chair, just in the corner of the room. And as she just was like, okay, cool. So she just cleaned. She just did her job.
While he was sitting there?
Yeah, while he was just sitting there. And the phone rang and he picked it up. And he said, "No, Dawn, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. I just had breakfast." He was silent then for a moment when he said that. And then after another moment, he was like, "No, I'm not hungry." And he hung up. This is very strange.
What the fuck?
So after the phone call, he starts interrogating the maid about her job and about the hotel. And this was like the first time he'd ever really properly spoken to her. He asked her how many rooms she was in charge of, what kind of people like stayed in the hotel and frequented the hotel. And again, he asked if anyone complained about the price of the neighboring hotel, which is what he complained about in the beginning. So she like answered quickly. I think she kind of got the impression that he was a little bit weird. And she finished cleaning and she left him alone in his room. And it was only after she left that she realized that since the door had been locked from the outside, someone had to have locked him in his room. Because how could it have been locked from the outside if he's in it? You know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I'm not happy about it.
I'm not happy about it. So, later that day, the maid once again returns with fresh towels, having taken the ones from the room that morning. However, when she knocked this time, she heard two voices in the room, not just him. So when she announced that she had fresh towels before coming in, but a loud, deep voice was like, "We have enough towels. We have enough." So she was like, "Okay,
like
good.
We have enough towels. We have enough."
Like that.
I think that's exactly what it sounded like.
Right.
So she knew that she'd actually removed all of the towels. Like, she was like, "You're talking shit because I'm the maid and I know how many towels are in that room." She left them alone because that was weird. Doesn't want to intrude on their private conversation. So she leaves.
Right.
So that same afternoon, the hotel got two more guests whose presence would contribute greatly to the mystery of what happened to Roland T. Owen. So the first was Jean Owen, of no relation to Roland. She had come to Kansas City to meet her boyfriend for the day and decided rather than drive all the way back to her hometown on the outskirts of the city, she would stay for a night in the hotel.
Right.
So she was given...
Makes sense.
Yeah. So she was given a key to room 1048, which was right next door to our Roland.
Right.
So that night, according to police statements, she heard a repeated commotion And this is a quote from her statement. She said, "I heard a lot of noise, which sounded like it was on the same floor and consisted largely of men and women talking loudly and cursing. When the noise continued, I was about to call the desk clerk, but I decided not to." She basically didn't want to get involved. She didn't want to fuck with that.
Valid.
Yeah. So the other hotel guest was not quite a guest, is what it says in this article. The
Not
bellhop,
quite a guest.
yeah. The bellhop who'd been on duty that night described her as a commercial woman who frequented the rooms of hotels' male patrons late at night. So she wasn't like a guest.
Oh,
She was
okay.
she was she was there quite frequently for things and stuff.
Things and stuff, right?
Yeah. So
Right.
on the evening of January 4th, she came to the hotel searching for a man in room 1026. However,
Right.
despite being a very prompt customer, the woman couldn't find the man she was looking for. After searching for well over an hour on multiple floors, she gave up. She went home. She couldn't find this person that she was apparently coming to meet.
Right.
So, yeah, it just apparently like these two specific women and like what they said, like hearing these like loud cursing voices and this woman like coming to look for a man in room 1026
That wasn't there.
Yeah, that wasn't there, like raised more questions, especially since Roland's room was 1046. So it's like, what's going on here? So the next morning, the bellhop received a call from the hotel's telephone operator. The room in 1046 had been off the hook for 10 minutes without anyone using it. So the bellhop went up to check on the man, Roland T. Owen, and noticed that the door was locked with a "Do Not Disturb" sign hung on the doorknob. But he knocked the door anyway, and Owen told him to come in. However, when the bellhop told Owen that the door was locked, he then got no response. The bellhop, he knocked again. Yeah, he knocked again and then yelled for Owen to hang up the phone, assuming like maybe he had just been drunk and knocked it off the hook or like knocked it off in his sleep or something. So he's just like, just put the phone back on the thing. Just put it back. However, an hour and a half later, the telephone operator called the bellhop again because the phone was still off the hook and hadn't been hung up at all. So this time, the bellhop decided to let himself into Owen's room with the master key. And this is when he found Owen lying naked on his bed, seemingly drunk. And the bellhop was like, "Nah, I don't get paid enough for this. I don't want to deal with this.
I don't get paid enough.
Yeah, he's fully
I just
fuck
don't.
this shit, I'm out kind of thing. He was like, no, he put the phone back on the hook and just locked the door behind him. He's like, nah. But he did report it to his manager. He did like tell the manager that the phone was off the hook and that this man was just like naked, drunk, passed out on his bed, just in case. So to his surprise, an hour later, the telephone operator called again, and the phone was again off the hook and not in use.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah. So this time, when the bellhop opened the door, he found a bloodbath.
Oh my God.
Owen was sitting curled in the corner of the room, his head in his hands, suffering multiple stab wounds. The bed sheets and towels were stained with blood, and the walls were like completely splattered.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The bellhop immediately then called the police and took Owen to the hospital, where doctors discovered that Owen had been tortured, like viciously tortured. Yeah. In that like freaking hour. In that hour.
But But like screams? No, like
Nothing was reported.
what the fuck?
Yeah. So there's like details of his injuries. I don't want to go into those details.
Let's not go into it.
He was very injured, basically. And he was actually pronounced dead at the hospital shortly after arriving, so he did die of his wounds.
Right.
So the doctors also discovered that the wounds on him had been inflicted well before the bellhop's first trip to the room. So when he first went in,
he was naked then.
Mm-hmm, he was just naked, passed out. The bellhop didn't notice anything, and like apparently these wounds had been inflicted like way before that.
What the fuck?
So they kind of assumed that he had attempted to call for help multiple times,
oh my
but
God.
hadn't been able to like make it further than like just picking up the phone because of his injuries.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So when like investigators came and started searching his room, that's when the strangeness continued. 'Cause it gets weirder.
God. Why does it get weirder? It's already weird enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So there were no clothes in the room when they searched, and nothing matched the description of Roland Owen when he checked in. Nothing. The hotel, like amenities such as like the soap and toothpaste were missing. Anything that could have been a murder weapon, nothing was there. The only thing that detectives found were 4 small fingerprints on the telephone stand, but they were never identified. Small fingerprints, only in that one spot.
Small fingerprints?
Yeah, never identified.
Did he get tortured by little gremlins?
I knew you were going to say something like that. Maybe.
What the fuck?
So what's even weirder is detectives found that Roland T. Owen never existed. This was not a person.
Oh my God, I swear.
Yeah, there was no record of any man with that name living anywhere in the United States. And they implored the public to come forward with any information they had about this murder victim. So the hotel that he had complained about a ton, they came forward claiming that a man matching the description of this man had stayed at the hotel on January 1st, and he checked in under the name Eugene K. Scott. But they reached the same dead end. This person didn't exist.
What the freaking crap?
Yep. So over the next couple of months, a lot of people came forward, like identifying this person as a loved one, but none of them stuck. Like none of them were like legit. So the case just ran cold. They couldn't find who he was, like what happened. Couldn't identify him, and they had to bury the body, and they had to arrange a funeral.
That's actually this is very unsettling.
Yeah, and then this is so weird because when they arranged the funeral, a bouquet of flowers and a donation to cover the funeral costs showed up at the funeral home with a letter that read only "Love forever, Lucille."
What?
Yep.
What?
And yeah, that's it.
I actually have chills, but like the bad kind. Like
yeah, it's just
that
absolutely bizarre.
That makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I would
weird.
attempt to solve this, but
I just don't even know where to start.
It's just like, what the freaking crap?
Like a lot of people think that like there's theories that someone
Aliens.
aliens. actually don't think, I mean, maybe, who knows? A lot of people think that someone came through like a window or something, but to my knowledge, there's no evidence of anyone, like there's no like breaking and entering kind of evidence. The only evidence that they found was the fingerprints.
They had to have, like, did no one see anything, like anyone go up to that floor around that time? Like, that's just that.
No
what
reports.
The freaking crap?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
And
that
also
is so weird.
The fact that the room was locked from the outside when
that as well.
The
like
bellhop
what
first got there, he had to open it with the master key. So yeah, someone somehow like locked him in there.
That is not like I'm thinking like hotel staff.
Yeah, right. It's
or
like
something.
The only
maybe the bell person did it.
Maybe
they were lying. Maybe they did it.
Maybe, but he would have had to be very, very, very quick with like getting rid of his evidence. You know what I mean? And a murder weapon.
True.
No murder weapon.
And like everything inside the room, really. Like everything inside the room was gone.
Yeah, everything.
Like the clothes, even. Like
there's
what?
a very, very short time frame between him first going in there and then like just seeing this guy like apparently just naked, passed out on his bed. To an hour later, it's a complete bloodbath.
He had to have had injuries already. Like it's
right. It's very.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah.
I would be a great detective. Like they would bring me this case and I'd be like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
Just
no.
No.
This is not going to be it, loves. This is not going to be it, loves. Nope.
Yep.
I have a mysterious case called the Watcher House.
Okay.
And it's not that long ago.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Crap. Again, are we having a moment of like it's not that long ago?
2014.
Right.
It's already quite a while ago, actually.
I'm like, yeah, that was only a couple of years ago. No, that was
it's like
quite a few, 7 years ago.
7 years ago, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So in June 2014, Maria and Derek, and then like Maria and Derek B.
Right.
And their 3 young children were getting ready to move out of their home to a new house, which was 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey.
Okay.
Right. They claimed the 6-bedroom house. 6-bedroom house.
Wow,
that's freaking huge.
That's
like
a big freaking house.
Big freaking house.
My God, I
and
could
they
only
claimed,
dream.
Yeah, they claimed it was their dream home. And located just a few blocks away from Maria's childhood home, and like safe city. It was great. It was perfect for them.
Yeah.
3 days after closing the sale, right, before the B family had even begun to move in, a letter arrived in their newly installed mailbox on that property. And the letter was addressed to the new owner.
Right.
It just said the new owner.
Okay.
In big, clunky, chunky handwriting, whatever that might mean.
Clunky, chunky. I like
clunky,
it.
Chunky. Well, the article says clunky, but I added chunky to that just because it sounds nice.
Sounds good, yeah.
And so the typed letter read as followed. Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. Which, is nice. It's friendly.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd be like, thank you. However, how did you end up here?
What?
Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within?
What? Excuse me?
Yes. That's what it said.
I would move out. I'd be like, okay, we gotta move now. Actually,
That's
no.
That's what the letter said. And like 657 Boulevard has been like the subject. The letter continued. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. And as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming.
What the absolute
Whatever
fuck?
that might mean.
That no, I would be gone.
But wait. The letter continues. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s. My father watched it in the 1960s. It is now my time.
Oh no.
Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Look out any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one.
No.
And that's how the letter ended.
No. No.
The letter also mentioned the family that was going to move in there. It said, "You have children. I have seen them."
No. I would be gone. See you later. We're moving. We are actually moving again.
We're moving again. But they didn't even move in yet. That's like the strangest part. Like they had been there like once to like check out the house, and then they signed the thing to buy it. So like they were only there once, and like it already like in this letter, like 3 days after they signed the contract, the letter got into the mailbox of that house saying all these things. That's just weird.
Super weird.
But it's not done yet. So far, I think there are 3 that I have counted. Do you need to fill the house with... This is really weird. Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested?
What? Get out of here. Get out of town. What on earth?
Better for me, was your old house too small for the growing family, or was it greed to bring me your children?
What the fucking hell?
Once I know their names, I will call them and draw them to me.
What the fuck?
At the bottom of the letter, the author used a cursive font to sign "The Watcher."
Disgusting. No.
Absolutely disgusting.
Did they move in?
So after receiving the letter, the family was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
you know?
as you would be.
As you would.
Yeah.
And they reached out to the previous family who had sold them the house, John and Andrea Woods. Right. They stated that during the 23 years of living at 657 Boulevard, they had never received a letter like that, except once a few days before they were getting ready to move out of the house.
Right.
The Woods family also stated that they had never felt watched in the 2 decades they had lived at the house, and in fact, rarely felt the need to lock their door at night even.
Oh, no. Big no.
While they thought the note they received was odd, they threw the note away without much concern. Still, the 2 families went to the police with the letter, and an investigation was opened by the police.
Mm-hmm.
And the police warned the family, like, yo, don't tell anyone about the letters, not even your neighbors, because they're all suspects, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks later, even though the family hadn't moved in, because they were, well, quite afraid
terrified?
to.
Yeah.
They were terrified.
Fair.
They received a second letter with even more chilling specifics about the family, including the children's birth order and nicknames.
No.
The Watcher also asked, will the children sleep in the attic, or will you all sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I will know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who is in which bedroom. Then I can plan better.
Right. Oh,
Plan
cool.
for what, love?
Yeah, okay. Just write back and just be like, well, this kid's going to be in this room and I'm going to be in the... What the fuck? I'm haunted.
So several weeks later, the family had still put their plans on hold, obviously.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to live there.
No.
Freak no.
No.
A third letter arrived.
Great.
And it said, where have you gone to? 657 Boulevard is missing you.
Oh my God. That makes me feel sick.
Yeah. So by the end of 2014, the case had stalled. There was no digital trail. They're like, I don't know how they don't know how the letters got there as well, because like the police had like stakeouts and stuff, but nothing was seen. It's really freaking weird. There were no fingerprints. No way to place somebody like at the place where the letters were left. And the family decided to sell the home. It has been sold and it is currently off the market while the Watcher's identity still remains.
So someone lives there?
I don't know. It doesn't say if someone like it could just be standing there empty maybe. Right. I don't know. But like no one knows what happened.
Yeah, that is creepy. Like that is creepy to like the core of my soul. Creepy.
I
hate it. Imagine like they were already living there as well, but it's weird. It's creepy that like they said all this and they hadn't even moved in. But if they had like settled in and then got this, every scenario would have been horrible.
You know what sentence like give me the creeps the most?
Which one?
It's like the one that says like, did the house call you with its force within?
Yeah, that's
like
a big
that's
no.
just like it didn't actually. It didn't.
It was actually the 6-bedroom, really nice house.
Yeah, there's theories surrounding this, obviously, that think that the house itself somehow sent the letters.
Okay.
Which
right.
Yeah, it's a big no-no.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's big no-nos actually. There's theories that that the neighbors just didn't want someone else to move in. But like all of these things have been checked by police and like nothing was found, and there was no digital paper trail as well, like because these letters were typed and probably like printed out on a printer or something. So like
what the heck? And even if it was like a neighbor, if the police did stakeouts, like, and there's no fingerprint, like what?
Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird.
Aliens?
Aliens? Maybe they teleported the letters in there. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Wormhole kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I have another particularly bizarre case for you. No. This one is so weird. Yeah, and I don't even know. It's just really weird. So, this is known as either the bizarre disappearance of the Trump family, not the Trump family, by the way, the Trump Trump family.
It's like a
like Chomp.
a family that was like, you know what? We're gonna be a parody family of the Trump family. Trump. Let's go.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is.
Just imagine Donald Trump in there. Yeah.
No, that makes it even creepier. So
right.
Yeah,
okay.
it's either
I'm
known
ready.
as the bizarre disappearance or the bizarre road trip of the
What?
Trump family. Let me tell you. Let me take you on this journey.
I'm ready for this road trip.
Yes.
I'm not ready, probably, but yeah, go ahead.
Monday, August 29th in 2016. In
2016.
Yeah, in Sylvan, Australia is where this took place.
Right.
There was a family, 51-year-old Mark Trump and his 53-year-old wife, Jacoba Trump, and their kids, 29-year-old Rihanna, 25-year-old Mitchell, and 22-year-old Ella.
Right.
This
I need
family,
I need to take a crisp with this.
You need to take
I'm good.
take a crisp. I need to take a crisp with this.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm gonna munch on some Crispies.
All right.
Yeah,
you do that. Yeah, get settled in, get comfy, get your snacks. So, this family lived on a farm, a big farm. And one day, on Monday, August 29th, they all inexplicably fled their farm. And their disappearance just absolutely captivated Australian media. So
they had a farm.
Mm-hmm.
They just suddenly left.
They just left. Yeah. So Mark and Jacoba ran an earth moving business. Don't really know what that is, but some kind of construction thing. Along with their farm is a berry farm. And now, bearing in mind that these kids are like 29, 25, and 22, their kids worked on this farm 7 days a week. 7 days a week. They made their kids work on this farm.
So they moved dirt.
Mm-hmm. And grew berries.
And grew berries.
Yeah, and they made their kids work 7 days a week.
Who does that? They could do it in shifts.
Yeah.
Or hire more people.
Yeah.
That's actually inhumane. Like, you don't let your staff work 7 days a week.
Especially your kids. Like, your kids. My God. I was asked to, like, tidy my room when I was a kid, and I was like, this is just bullshit, actually. So, yeah, the local police sergeant, whose name is Mark Knight, he was like the head of the case, and he said that this was the most bizarre case that he had investigated in 30 years. When the police investigated their home, when this family was like reported missing, they found phones, passports, and credit cards. So it looked like the family took off with only cash, like sort of like they were like going off the grid.
Okay.
But unlike the rest of his family, 25-year-old Mitchell brought his cell phone. And approximately 19 miles into the trip, his family forced him to throw his cell phone out the window because they were convinced it was being used to track them.
How do we know that happened? Like, how? Because
they tracked the phone to that location. Yeah.
Oh, and it was just lying there, like in the woods or something.
Yeah, just on the road. Yeah. Oh
my God. Okay.
So they drove for the first day and night until they reached a place called Bathurst, I think that's how I pronounce it, which was 500 miles away from their home.
Right.
So the next day, on Tuesday, August 30th, Mitchell left the family approximately around 7 a.m. And the family later headed out from their location at Bathurst to a place called Jenolan Caves. where the other two kids, Ella and Rihanna, broke off from the family by stealing a car. So they left their parents and they stole a car. They left, but they reported, they drove the car to a place called Goulburn, where they reported their parents as missing. So they like broke off from their parents, but then they reported them as missing.
Right.
So from that point, the two girls actually split up. And quite some time later, like the same day, but sometime later, Rihanna was eventually found in the back of a pickup truck owned by a man named Keith Whitaker. He was just driving along and he felt like kicks coming from his pickup truck. So he went to investigate and he found Rihanna. But she was like catatonic, didn't know who she was, where she was. She was very confused, like just completely out of it. Right? Completely out of it.
That sounds like drugs to me, love.
Yeah. On the other hand, Ella, she made it home by Tuesday night. When she got home, the police were already there. So this is when they were investigating the home, because the home was left unlocked when the family left it. And they had found that the home was like in total like disarray. There was like financial records all over the place. It looked like the family had been going through years and years worth of the farm's financial records. And there was piles of documents all over the place, including all of the family's passports and their credit cards. So that's what was in that was what was in the house. The next day, Mitchell eventually arrived home via train. Casually, he was just on the train and he came home.
The son?
The son, yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the parents were driving to a place called Wangaratta. Not 100% sure how to pronounce it. I'm going to go with Wangaratta because it's spelled with A's. If I am mispronouncing this place in Australia, I'm very sorry.
It's spelled with A's.
Yeah.
Right.
So, when the parents got to this location, they separated. Jacoba, the wife, headed north, and Mark stayed in this location. So, just to add some bizarreness to this case, as if it wasn't already bizarre enough, Mark was driving that Wednesday night around 10 p.m. And because he was driving at this time, he was linked to a case where a young couple were really dangerously tailgated by a car of the same make and color that he was driving. This couple, fun fact, were playing Pokemon Go at the time. And
right.
The man said I could barely see his headlights because he was that close to my car. So they pulled over and they noticed that the car tailgating them also stopped. And at one point they claimed eventually what is assumed to be Mark Trump got out of his car, ran towards them, but in true creepy as fuck fashion, he just stopped in the middle of the road and stared at them.
What?
Which is really cool and nice.
What were they on?
Yeah, what? I don't know.
Like the entire family, like what?
Mm-hmm.
What?
So he didn't do anything. He stared at them for a little bit and then he just walked off into a nearby park and disappeared. Good. Not creepy at all. The police searched the park that he disappeared into, but no one was found. His car was, though, and the keys were still in the ignition. So the police were completely baffled and they were trying to find him. There was reports of a nearby motel that a room had been broken into. So they investigated that. They thought he might have stayed there for the night, but they didn't find him. Nothing came of that. So on Thursday, September 1st, Jacoba Trump, the wife, took public transportation to a place called Yass, literally Yes.
Yes,
yes.
girl. Okay.
And wanted to book a motel there. But she was like in the same sort of state as Rihanna had been. She didn't know who she was. She didn't know her name. Didn't know where she was. So a member of the public was like, maybe you should go to the hospital. Like, maybe we should take you to the hospital. So they took her to the hospital, and she only had cash on her. They found that she only had cash on her, no ID, no credit cards, no cell phone, nothing. But because this case was like all over Australian media, the hospital staff recognized her and they called the police. Right. So they like helped her, whatever. They got her. But still Mark. Where the hell is Mark? So on September 3rd, 5 days after leaving their home, Mark Tromp was found just wandering down a road in Wangaratta around 5:50 p.m. in the evening. He was just wandering down the road, like in like a weird state, just on the road, just strolling. And when the police found him, he was questioned and he was given a mental health assessment. He spent 5 hours at the station before he was escorted out. And as he was walking out, he gave the media that were waiting there the finger. He just flipped the bird at the media. I don't know why, but he did. But he later apparently apologized for the hurt and concern caused by these events. So, yeah. The next day, Mitchell and Ella, which are two of the kids, they appeared before the media, and they publicly thanked the police and the media for finding their father, but they didn't go into detail about what happened. They didn't talk about why they left or like what happened. And they actually said that they're still confused about what happened. Like, they don't know what happened. So it's bizarre. So the family had no history of mental illness. The police sergeant, Mark Knight, said that there was no sign of the family using drugs. They had like no outstanding debts, so they didn't owe anyone any money. And there was no sign, because they had to check, of course, there was no sign that they were part of like a church or a cult or anything like that.
And like a criminal organization or something, or
yeah,
like nothing.
No like evidence supporting any of that. So why did they leave? Like, what happened? And like, why did they all split up? Why did they not even know who they were when they were found? So there's a lot of theories about this. There's speculation that there was someone after them, because apparently the family had made plans at one point to flee the country, but they decided against it because their passports could be tracked. So people think, well, they wanted to flee the country at one point, so maybe someone was after them. Also, the fact that
maybe the government was after them.
Perhaps, right? Maybe they grew some interesting berries or something. I don't know.
Interesting berries. Oh my god.
But
yeah, they grew some interesting berries, mate.
Yeah, gotta get them. But but yeah, like they couldn't find any evidence of this, but it just suggested it, because when they found the home in like disarray, it was all the financial records of the farm and everything. So it was very weird. Strange. But another theory, which is really interesting and kind of like goes hand in hand with a statement that Ella made at the end of it all, was that the family suffered from a shared delusion, which actually has a name. It's called folie à deux. And
folie à deux.
And it's a rare psychological condition that affects specifically like close families. It's sort of like a shared paranoia that something bad is going to happen. And like 90% of this psychological condition is experienced by either families, like parents and their kids, couples, or siblings. The doctors suspect, although like they can't really pinpoint who could have first started exhibiting like delusional and paranoid behavior. They think that Mark and Jacoba just kind of fueled each other's paranoia about something to the point where it clearly got like overwhelming and they decided to leave their house. And Ella said, like she made a public statement and she said, and I quote, "It is very confusing. I still feel confused. I think our state of minds weren't in the best place and there's no one reason for it. It's bizarre." That's what she said. So, yeah.
That is actually disturbing.
Yeah, right? Like, what?
Because, like...
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Like, I don't... This episode is called Actually Solving Unsolved Mysteries. We haven't solved anything.
Yeah, we're perplexed. But it's like, I think with this one, it is either, it could be a combination of like, someone is at, like, they owe someone money. Like, they said there was no outstanding debts, but maybe there was like something shadier that like went under.
I mean, like the shared paranoia thing, like with parents and their children, like there's something there, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe like the paranoia was something about their financials.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And maybe in their paranoia they thought like the government may have had something to do with it, and that's why they wanted to flee the country. I don't know.
Maybe.
That makes sense, but
yeah.
But nothing about what they did makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Like it's just
them not knowing like who they were or where they were. Like that's the bit that creeps me out the most. Yeah. Like what was going on there? I don't know.
Aliens.
Aliens. Technically, we have solved all of these because all the answers are aliens.
All the answers. Yeah, Jack the Ripper was an alien.
Yep. Malaysian Airlines flight was taken by aliens.
Yes. The Watcher.
Alien.
Mm-hmm.
The man
could turn
room,
invisible.
The room.
And yeah.
He was killed by an alien.
Killed by a small alien with tiny fingerprints. Yeah.
And this one,
we've solved it. We've cracked it. We've cracked it all. We've cracked it all.
Sure.
I still have one more.
Yeah. I'm intrigued.
And it's called The Incident at Dyatlov Pass.
Right. Tell me about it.
So on the first night of February 1959, 9 skyhikers died. Skyhikers. It's called, I don't know what. Wait, let me Google what skyhikers is actually.
Okay. It sounds like they're like hiking in the sky.
Oh, ski hikers, right?
Skyhikers.
Can you tell that I need to go to bed? Right. So oh my god, skyhikers. Why did I read that as skyhikers? What the fuck? Right.
Oh god. Okay.
Right.
Skyhikers.
So 9 ski hikers died mysteriously in the mountains of what is now Russia.
Right.
The night of the incident, the group had set up camp on a slope, enjoyed dinner, and prepared for sleep. But something went catastrophically wrong because the group never returned.
Shit.
On February 26, searchers found the hikers' abandoned tent, which had been ripped open from the inside.
What? Okay.
Specifically from the inside.
Yeah.
Surrounding the area were footprints left by the group, some wearing socks, some wearing a single shoe, some were barefoot, but all of them continued to the edge of a nearby wood. And that is where the first 2 bodies were found.
Ooh, okay.
Shoeless and wearing only underwear.
Right.
The scene looked very much like people died from hypothermia.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as medical examiners and inventoried the bodies as well, there were the other 7 that were discovered over the months that followed, because it took months to find all of them.
Shit.
Hyperthermia made no sense anymore.
Right.
Because the evidence made no sense at all.
Great.
One body had evidence of a blunt force trauma consistent with a brutal assault. Another had 3rd-degree burns.
What?
And this was in the snow. Like, it was like ice everywhere.
Right.
3rd-degree burns, like, and you can get like 3rd-degree burns from like something extremely cold, but that's not what it was. It was like 3rd-degree burns from like fire or something.
Mm-hmm.
One had been vomiting up blood.
Mm.
One of them was missing a tongue.
What?
And some of their clothing, like some of their clothing was found to be radioactive.
What? Okay.
So to recap, so they found the tent was ripped open from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I believe they slept in one tent.
Okay.
So like their tent was ripped open from the inside. There were footprints everywhere. Some of them were wearing socks, some of them barefoot, some of them with one shoe. So they left in a hurry. And they ran from something, probably, or someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 of them were found, like, in their underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Seemingly died of hypothermia, but never confirmed that was the case.
Right.
And then 1 that was killed by blunt force trauma. 1 that had 3rd-degree burns. 1 that vomited up blood, 1 that missed a tongue, and like some of their clothing had radioactive traces on them.
What the heck? Like
So
none of it is consistent at all.
None of it is consistent, and it seems like every one of them was killed by something else or someone else, and it doesn't make any sense at all. There are a lot of theories about this, because this is like literally the only information that I have about it. It's a pretty short one, and I wanted to end on it because it's the weirdest one, I feel like.
Yeah.
There's theories that the KGB had something to do with it.
Right.
There are people that think it was just like a bunch of people doing drugs together and hurting each other. But so many different things, and that also wouldn't explain like the radioactiveness.
Yeah.
Which is like really weird detail.
Really weird.
There's, of course, people that think it was aliens. Gravity anomalies is also one of the theories.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, places where gravity acts differently, but I don't know how that would
How does that explain anything?
I don't know. People are weird. There's also the Russian version of the Yeti. There's a documentary that someone made about this that presented a theory involving a terrifying but real phenomenon called infrasound, in which the wind reacts with the topography to create a barely audible hum that nevertheless induces powerful feelings of nausea, panic, dread, chills, nervousness, raised heartbeat rate, and breathing difficulties.
Oh. Right.
But the only consensus that remains of whatever happened on that pass involved an overwhelming and possibly inhuman force.
Right.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
aliens, right?
aliens. Yeah.
Yeah. One of them was just an alien
Oh yeah.
and ripped out the tent from the inside.
Yeah.
And
They
then
thought
tracked each one of them down.
Yeah, they
and
thought
just
they
like,
knew this person, but it was an alien.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
scary
yeah.
because it's like none of it's consistent and.
Damn, some of their clothes were radioactive.
Yeah,
Like what? How?
My god, were they near like a radioactive like place?
I don't know. I don't think so.
But how, yeah, even if they were, how is just one? That makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
And also, like, some of their clothes, like not all of the clothes of the entire group. No, some of the clothes from some of the people that died there showed radioactive things.
So strange.
I genuinely like stuff like this. Just freaking creeps me out, love. It just like I just don't.
It's very unsettling. Like all of these are so unsettling. Like I find unsolved mysteries so interesting, but like it is unsettling and
fun fact. Well, fun fact. The Dyatlov Pass wasn't previously called the Dyatlov Pass. It didn't really have a name. And so later they named it the Dyatlov Pass after the group leader that got killed there also, or died there also, Igor Dyatlov.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, unsolved mysteries, really interesting, so frustrating because I just want to know. I want to know what happened in all of these things. Like I just want to know.
Yeah.
I need answers.
It's just weird. It's just really, really, really weird. It like one of them had a fractured skull.
What?
Like something has to have like hit it or something, or like there were 3 deaths that resulted from physical trauma, and then 6 to be believed hypothermia, but also not entirely sure. There was 1 fatal skull injury, like 2 with fatal chest trauma, and one of them had a freaking fractured skull.
No sense.
Like it doesn't make sense at all. I can't even begin to understand what happened there.
No.
Yeah.
We'll probably never know. We'll probably never know.
We'll probably never ever know. There's also like things like it might have been an avalanche. And I guess that
doesn't
could
explain the radioactive stuff.
Yeah, and like the burn mark, like the freaking burn marks.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like at first it was believed it was an avalanche, but then later there were no signs that an avalanche had taken place. It's just like weird. It's just weird.
Super weird. Super weird. Damn.
Yeah.
And also like, yeah, like with unsolved mysteries as well, it's like people find them super interesting, but also like just imagine being someone that knows these people, never getting any closure. It's just haunting and so sad. And yeah.
Yeah, and like I just read something here that the footprints leading from the tent, like the tent was ripped from the inside. But the footprints that they all go, like the 9 hikers all went in the same direction to the woods. But it doesn't look like they were running. It looked like they were walking away at a normal pace.
Just walking? So
like it's so weird. It's so weird because if like like you rip something from the inside out, outside, like from inside the tent, and you rip it, and then you just walk away from it. Like,
yeah, like that would suggest urgency. So what?
It's just super weird. It's just super weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind-boggling, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our Unsolved Mysteries.
It's our Unsolved Mysteries episode.
Yeah, sorry
I
to
hope
give
you liked it.
Existential crises about these mysteries.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking about them for the rest of the day, that's for sure.
I hope you enjoyed our first 5 episodes. We've had a lot of fun.
I love it.
I'm actually really I'm already looking forward to recording the next one.
Yeah, me too.
We just want to thank you so much for listening to our podcast, or perhaps even watching. Thank you. Thank you. Just thank you. You know?
It means a lot. Like I think we said this in the first episode, but this like started as a joke. We're like, haha, we should start a podcast. And then we're like, within a week, we got a lot of episodes of a podcast. Yeah. So it's just great. I'm really enjoying it.
It took us a week and a half to go from concept to execution, 5 episodes ready.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Not even concept, just like joking about it.
Yeah, joking about it to concept to actual podcast.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's so fun. It's so fun. Like,
it's wild.
Yeah, really enjoyed it and enjoying it, and I'm very excited. Should we say like a little spoiler for what the next episode is going to be?
Yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
I am very excited for the next episode because it's going to be silly. It's just going to be silly. We're going to play a little game called Incoherent, and I think it's just going to be like us wheeze laughing.
That could very well be it. Yeah. That could very well be it.
It's gonna be great. I'm very excited.
But we have multiple episodes planned still. There's 5 episodes left to the season, and we are excited to bring them all to you. There's some interesting subjects in there.
Yeah.
And
very interesting.
Yeah.
You just have to wait and tune in and see what they'll be all about. Yeah. But
right.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, you can leave us a review on the streaming service that you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We would love to know what you think of the podcast so far. And you can follow our socials.
You can follow our socials, Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel, of course. It's all Ackshully. So you can find us everywhere. And also, if you want to see more of the wonderful, amazing, beautiful Katy, you can find her everywhere at Hateno Crossings or Hate No Crossings, if that's easier for you.
You said we need to stop joking about that. I do. I need to stop joking about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, it makes it easier to spell. Anyways, and if you want to find my wonderful co-host, Cobble, you can find him everywhere at Mr. Cobble Wobbles, doing the things that he's very talented at doing, like Twitch and YouTube, and the shit posts on Twitter, literally.
Literally. People are not going to want to follow me now.
No, you should.
Anyways,
10 out of 10.
I had lots of fun with these 5 episodes. 5 more episodes are coming soon. Thank you so much for watching.
Let's
freaking go. Goodbye.